Okay, we're going to do a little testing here before we go live, or before we actually start the charts. We are live right now. So what we're testing here is to make sure my mic is in sync with my cam. So in other words, when I'm talking, my audio is not out of sync. So let me just do some testing here. I have somebody watching over there that's looking, and the sync is a-okay. Excellent. Okay. Well, that's what I needed to know. Amazing. All right, so maybe if we have a problem going forward, it could just be in the recording, not sure, but good to have that. So that is excellent. All right, well, then I'm going to put back the home page, and we'll put a little music on, and we'll get started, it looks like, in about 7 minutes. All right, folks, we're about 2 minutes out, so we'll be starting really soon. All right, well, welcome to this week's Stock Analysis Friday. Great to have you all here. My name is Bennett McDowell with TradersCoach.com. Now, I just want to make sure that the audio is syncing to my cam. So hopefully, as I speak, it's correctly synced. We did a little test a little while ago, and it seemed to be working okay. But we have noticed that previously, some of the recordings seem to be out of sync. So we want to make sure the live sessions are okay. And if the recordings are out of sync, then we need to work on something else to try to fix those. So I think all is okay. Thank you, Key, and welcome. And Key, I don't know if we're yet in C wave. We're probably still in B wave. It's too early to tell. I mean, if continued selling occurs next week and we start breaking down below some key levels, then perhaps. But for right now, we're going to say we're still in B wave, and this is just a breath in a bullish B wave. So that's kind of where we're at now. All right, well, let me go through that those administrational items, and please type your symbols in for me to look at, whether they're stocks or ETFs, and type those in caps, and makes it easier for me to see, and I'll get to those, and we'll do a analysis on each one of those. Also at the end, I'll put up a couple very short time frames, like on the E-mini or the NASDAQ for those day traders out there. And I usually keep that up for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so and see if there's any opportunity. But it also allows you to see the software work in real time. So that's kind of cool as well. All right, well, let me go over here and get into the actual information, the admin information I have to cover for today. All right, so real quickly, we want you to realize that there are risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. But you should be aware of the risks. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading the financial markets. Nobody can guarantee anybody's results. The results that we achieve is based off quite a bit of experience in the markets and using the best software tools, which is the ART, OWL, PTF, and TLM and ERI indicators, along with our scanners. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. You'll see me use those on the charts today. But also, too, we want you to make sure that you are trading with money you can afford to risk, and also check with your financial advisor or money manager to be sure that some of the trades we talk about here are suitable for you because we don't know your personal situation, and of course they do. And then finally, you need to know how to do risk control, and actually we can help you here because we have a great brand new book called A Money Management for Traders, which is that green colored book on the far right. And it is a inexpensive book, so it's not a lot of money, but it really will get you squared away with risk control. And also it's very specific. I have a more comprehensive book on the far left called The Trader's Money Management System. So this book on the far right, which is a brand new release, is a condensed version of that, almost like a Cliff Notes of the more comprehensive book. So this will give you the information that you can get going and use money management. And we really want everybody to use money management. If you're not using risk control and money management, it's really difficult to be successful in trading. So it really comes down to that, and then good entries and exits. And then we have a brand new edition of The Art of Trading coming out in the spring of next year by our publisher, Wiley Trading. Has asked us to do a second edition on that. So we're going to do that, and that'll be out next year. And then we have the Survival Guide of Traders and the Elliott Wave Technique Simplified. So we've got a lot of resources for you guys to access there. Books are, a great way to go and get to know us as well. Now, if you're ready to step up and go to what we call the ultimate trading system and increase your level of play, well, these software tools will help you do that. We've got a tremendous set. We've got the ART, AL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. That first row of software tools there are all charting software. Then we have scanners that we have available as well that looks for opportunities in the market. And then finally, we have our risk control software at the bottom. So if you want to learn more about these tools, visit our website, give us a call, and Gene will be glad to talk to you about that. And then finally here, like, subscribe, and share. The more people we get to come to bring a few stock opportunities, the better it is for all of us. So definitely share this with your friends, get them here. And we usually uncover quite a few stocks each and every week, which is really great for some really good opportunities. So let's go ahead and dig in and get going on that. So let me come out of here and let's get into the charts. And good morning, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to just go over PayPal really quickly. This is one that we recommended. Now, a lot of these that we've looked at, we think formed a pretty significant bottom down here. Possibly, if you're into Elliott Wave, this would be a 3. And then we're looking for a slight rebound into the target zone created by drawing fibs, and this would be a 4. And then after 4, we should see more selling, more earnest selling, 5. So basically what we're seeing here is we're coming off the bottom. It's not unusual to get a pullback, and a fairly significant pullback here. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing now in the markets. And then a resumption back into the direction of our trade, which would be a long trade on something like PayPal. And our target's around 153 to 207. But you have to keep these stops low, all right? You see these little triangular pyramids here? These will trade the swings of the market. But we want to stay in for actually 3 swings, the A, the B, and then finally the C swing to get into the target zone. So you don't want to get stopped out on the swing down, which is B wave. So you got to keep that stop at the very lowest until B wave is over. Then you can move your stop up. And we're seeing that across the board on a lot of the ones that we picked over the last 2 weeks right now. All right, so we'll kind of take a look at any of those. If you want to, just let me know. All right, let me just back up, excuse me, and take a look at, let's see here. All right, let me start with Key. I think Key is PS. Okay, nope, that's PS Hygiene. All right, how about BBY for Al? How you doing, Al? BBY, we'll look at this for a short. He's short on this market here. Let's see what's cooking. All right, I don't know where you got in short here, but for right now, at this particular point, we still have some green PTFs on the daily and the 60-minute. So I would not be short here, all right, at this particular point. Now, the long-term chart says, yes, it may be a good short position, but we're not done with the move to the upside yet. So you got to wait for that to be over before you actually initiate a short. So at this particular point, things have changed. If you were short earlier, I would go ahead and probably exit this or adhere to your stop wherever it is. The green PTFs are indicating more highs, so you're probably going to get above 30 again on this stock. All right, so that's that. All right, let's take a look at BJ here. Give that a second to load, and this is for John. Hi, John. Okay, so you're long on this one. Okay, good. All right, so basically this is a fairly mature uptrend on the weekly chart. You can see it really started in 2020. And if you're new here, the weekly chart is on the left, on the right. And this gives us our long-term view. We got the daily in the center for our intermediate view. And then we've got it over here on the 60-minute for our short-term view. So whenever I analyze a stock, not only am I using our software tools, but I'm using multiple time frame analysis. And we're going to come out with a book on this as well, on how to do this. And also we have a home study course on this too. So it's a really effective way to really look at a market across different time frames to really time the entries and the exits. So that's why we do it that way. And you can see all three charts are of the same symbol. And this one happens to be BJ. So we've got a green PTF and a green owl on the short term. We have a green owl here. So I think we're going to get one more high on this. I think at this particular point, you got to be really careful on the next high. So when we break above, 77.5 roughly, I think you've got to think about maybe covering this trade. I would definitely tighten up the stops a lot. Way I would do this, if this goes yellow, okay, on the PTF on the yellow goes yellow, then I would definitely at least scale out a half a position. And then I'd keep that stop pretty darn close, okay, because we're near probably a significant correction in this. And if you notice here, we're seeing bearish divergence even on the weekly chart. Okay, so you gotta take note of that. Okay, so be a little careful on that one. That's BJ. All right, WEBR, John, is your next one. Let's see, you got sell. I don't know if you're short that or you're thinking of selling. Let's see. Okay, on this one, no. All right, you want to stay long on this. And this is where the tools help us. You see this PTF here? Whenever you see it green on any of the time frames, it's basically going to indicate that you have a 75% probability of prices getting above the high that created that green particular PTF signal. So that would be this high here. Okay, so chances are, we may get a pullback. It doesn't tell us when it's going to return and make the high. It doesn't tell us the amount of the pullback. It's just saying at some particular point, we're going to get higher highs. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. Great. You've got a green one here and a green owl on the 60-minute. You got the same duplication here on the daily. So you don't want to get out of this. Okay, you want to stay long. You can put your stop at this pyramid here. It's pretty much below the inflection point. So I think you're okay there. If you want to be super safe, put it on that first pyramid triangle and you should be absolutely fine. Okay. So no sell yet. Stay the long course. All right. Hopefully that helps you. And I think that's what you were asking me, right? All right. Let's see. Adam, how are you doing? Good to have you here. All right, let's take a look at SIGA. Is that the next one here? If I miss one, let me know. There's so many chats going on here. It's very easy to miss one here. All right, SIGA. Ooh, nice one here. Okay, so this, talk about clarity. You're looking at it here. You see this move here off this channel? That's your wave 3. I mean, even the owl's identifying that easily. And you can tell a wave 3 by the hyperbolic slope of that. So when you see something like that, it's really, really clear. Now, it's a little bit late to join the party on this one. The ideal entry would have been the breakout from the channel. As many of you know, I love to scan for markets that are bracketed. The longer, the better, because any positive or even negative news that comes out will cause that market to trend. And in this case, positive news eventually came out, and that's where you want to be all over this. So the entry would have been earlier down here. And notice the PTF picked it up way back in here, okay? Higher highs, okay? And we got that. So now we've got a very strong owl. We don't have any longer a green PTF, so that's neutral at yellow. You can go long or short on a yellow, but it's not giving us an indication of whether we're going to get more highs or not. So if you were trading this, here's the way I would probably do this. You've got a very strong owl. Very possible we could get some more highs on this before it does correct. So the pyramid down here is putting your stop right here, okay? And if we bring up the data window, I can tell you exactly where that stop probably should be at this particular point. And let's take a look at that data box. And we're looking at a low on that price bar that created the base leg of the pyramid right around 1674. So your stop should be at 1673. That will give you the most chance to survive a slight pullback in SIGA. And then if it recovers and makes another high, you'll be all set. We'll probably get another pyramid form, maybe in here someplace. And then you'll be off to the races by moving up your stop. Now, another way you could do this, depending on when you got in, if you're sitting with 100% return, if you got in way down here, all right, at like $7 or $8, and you're sitting at 22, you could always use, this is one of the great things about our software tools. We give you signals in the opposite direction of major trends if you want to scale out, and that decision's up to you. So if you're sitting at over 100% profit, in this case, almost 200% profit. So if you're sitting at that high of profit and you get a greed bar, a 1B or a 2B in the opposite direction, and that signal gets hit, you can scale out. You could take a half of your position off the table, or a third. We don't like you to take more than about 5/8 off the table. And then the rest you could leave here for the anticipation of possible more highs. And that way you lock in a little profit. If you want to move on to another trade, it loosens up some cash. Or if anything, it just relieves some of the anxiety you may be feeling when a market is so profitable. All right, so it's up to you at this particular point how you want to manage it, but you can still stay long in it. I would not go in this if you're not in it already. You've missed the meat of the move, and I would wait for a more significant retracement to give you the opportunity to get in at a much better price. A lot of people get in late on trends, and then they get stopped out, and then it comes down here, something like this, reverses and goes back up. And they're either so discouraged they were stopped out that they don't get back in, or they have a hard time figuring out when to get back in. So they kind of miss the trade. So that's the problem with going in late. Let it correct, all right, down to a fib retracement zone, and then go long. Possible to get one more high on this for sure. I mean, the owls are so strong right now on the daily chart. But again, I don't know how much further that baby's going to go. All right, might only go to 30 or something at the most. So that's where I'm at on that. But a great trade, okay. But if you're not in it yet, not quite, okay. All right, hopefully that was clear. All right, SL, Mr. Stewart, how are you? Good. Now, is that good morning or is that GM? I'm going to say it's GM because I think I know you like GM, which is General Motors. All right, so let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so this is one we actually looked at and we recommended it, right? And we liked it, and it's working its way towards the target zone. Now, when I talk about target zones, what I'm really referring to is these blue lines up here. And I'm going to put a box around them right here. So this is a target zone that we expect prices to get to. Now, when they get here, we're also looking for them at some point to turn and go back down. So in a long position like we've been in on this move up here, when we get here, we're looking to exit. So we want to move our stops pretty close when we get to the target zone. And this target zone is called a fib retracement, which is a form of technical analysis that trends usually retrace to before they continue in the direction of the major trend. So this is considered a corrective trade to the target zone. And if you're an Elliott wave person, which is another form of technical analysis that assigns numbers or wave counts two particular trends and their counter trends, this would be a 3 and this would be a 4 target. So things are making sense for that. Now you're in the red zone. So when you're in the red zone here, okay, we like you to kind of think about perhaps maybe scaling out a little bit, or maybe perhaps keeping that stop now, move that stop maybe up to the second pyramid right about there, okay? Now, we haven't really had a really good B wave yet. You know, we've had these little adjustments, kind of these little breaths coming up here, but we haven't had an attack down here towards the bottom. So that's my only concern with moving your stops up too close on this one, is that it's not technically yet in the target zone, and we could get a B wave down and then a move up. And if your stop is not set properly, you know, you could get stopped out before reaching the target zone. So you can certainly leave your stop where it is, all right, until it gets to the target, and then inch it up real close. Or you could use the second pyramid if you wanted to, because that's sitting right below the inflection point of a pullback, but sometimes B waves exceed those. So you got to be a little careful in that. So General Motors so far tracking exactly what like we thought it would, right? So it's looking pretty good. So let's take a look at DOCU. This is another one that we looked at that we also recommended. So give that a second to load. Now this one's a little bit different, okay? Notice that this one has not tracked up to the target zone as aggressively as General Motors did. And so what do you do in a case like this? Well, for right now, okay, your stop needs to be here. All right, keep it there. So when we enter a trade like this and it's a counter trend trade, what we're really saying is that this bottom here is an Elliott wave 3. So this is a significant bottom, and we're expecting it to get to an Elliott wave 4, very similar to General Motors. So if we're right on this trade, eventually it will wiggle its way up to that wave 4 box. If we're wrong, and this is not an Elliott wave 3 bottom yet, but Elliott wave 3 is not finished and might go lower, then we're going to get stopped out. And that's exactly the reason I want to get stopped out. I don't want to get stopped out on moving my stop too close or market volatility. I want to get stopped out when my analysis proves to be incorrect. And so if I get stopped out here, then that's not a wave 3 bottom and I need to go. Okay. So keep that stop low for right now. This trade is not over yet. You could see a reversal at any time back to the upside. You still got a green PTF here. So I think we're probably close to a retracement bottom on this, and we could see a reversal. Okay. Nothing's guaranteed, but this is why you don't keep your stop so close until we get closer to that target zone. All right. So that's DOCU. And let's see how TRIP is doing. This is another one we looked at. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's gone up quite a bit. And there it is. Okay. So this one's done pretty well too. And still very close to the target zone. But check this out. We have green and green, but we're seeing a pullback. All right. So what do you do? All right. Well, in a case like this, it probably could pull back to this line here. All right. Our stop would be right here right now. You can put the stop below that pyramid. If that gets hit, you're going to want to leave. But at this particular point here, same thing. Just keep it until it gets to the target. All right. So you got to kind of tough it out there, but all the tools are saying more highs are coming. All right. This has got red over here. So we're in that little bit of a corrective period here, but a 3 here. So 4, 3, and 5 to put you back up there. So I think you're going to be okay with this. You just got to give it a little time and don't be too nervous if it pulls back a little bit, and keep that stop low. Okay. Again, if you've got in super early and you've got a tremendous return and it's just, you know, you can't, the anxiety's built because you're fearful that you're going to give your money back and you have to scale out or else you can't sleep at night. All right, scale out a little bit. All right, you could have used some of these signals in the opposite direction on this time frame to take a third or a half off the table, but chances are and probabilities are that it's going higher. So you kind of want to make sure you stay with that. Okay, so hopefully that helps there, Stuart. Good job. And let's move on. Dan, how are you? Okay, let's see what we got here. SIRI. Dan is one of our day trading room participants. And we have a lot of fun in there, don't we, Dan? Okay, so a little messy on this one, Dan. Okay, not my favorite. I mean, look at that weekly chart. Okay, usually when I see this, I run for the hills. Okay, I don't even mess with it. All right, so the only time frame that has some clarity maybe is this one, but not really. Okay, because you wouldn't go short here with a PTF green, and you're getting a pullback. So you got this, you got the long-term saying it's going to go down, the intermediate and short-term saying you're going to get one more high before it goes down, and it's still going down. So there's no trade here, okay, at all. All right, you got to pass on this one. All right, let's take a look at this next one, TSN. I'm going right down the list in the comments area. Okay, so if you were long this one, all right, you would have been stopped out a while ago. So there you have it. Again, red PTF on the 60, green on the daily, contradiction in signals, no trade. No trade at all. Because the short term saying the low's not in here, and this is saying we have to have one more low basically because of this before this is going to be realized. All right. So wait for that thing to bottom, and we can take a look at that next week maybe and see if it bottomed and maybe getting closer to a long trade on that. All right, MAR, let's take a look at this one. All right, so let that load a second. All right, so at least on this one, let's see what the PTFs are looking. So on the short term and the long term, the PTFs are red. And what's interesting is we're now here at an inflection point, all right, which is basically halfway of the move down. So that's kind of an interesting thing. We may be getting to roll over. If this owl goes red and we still have a 2-to-1 down to these levels here, this is even really low, then you could probably take a short trade on this. So you want to wait for this to turn red. You want to make sure this does not ever turn green before you go short. And you want to, this is red, that's okay, and you need this red. So it's too early to go short yet. And then a short position here, if you're going to use the longer time frame for a target, you got to put your stop way the heck up here, okay? Because that's something you're going to be in for a long time, and you have to survive the volatility that you're going to have on the daily chart in order to make it to the PTF target zone, which is, you know, right around what, 60 or so, if not a little bit lower on the weekly chart. So that's it. Okay, so maybe a good short trade, not quite yet. Getting closer though. MAR. All right, let's take a look at GLW. So basically, when you use 3 time frames, if the lower time frame is bullish and the higher time frames are bearish, the lower time frame is basically our short-term look. And that's meaning that it's going to move in that direction first before it moves in the direction of the higher time frames. Okay, that's kind of what we're seeing. Let's take a look at this. All right, great example. So this is all red over here, right? This is green. We got a green pyramid, yellow here, red here, and green here. So this PTF says we're eventually going to return and get above here. Okay, so we're going above 45, we're at 36. So you kind of want to be poised for a bullish trade overall. That's the overall longer term assessment of this market. You had a nice pyramid trading point entry here, so your stop would still be down here. You have not really had a significant pullback, but we seem to be maybe getting that now. And notice the PTF on the 60 and the owl are red. So we are coming back down. Now, if you wanted to short this trade using this time frame, you could do that, all right? Just make sure that the fib retracement target zone gives you a 2-to-1, and you'd probably be in that trade for what? Up to a week at the most, maybe 2 or 3 days, possibly. All right, but then after it reaches here, you got to get out of your short and go long, because this is still a bullish trend on this time frame. That's how you got to look across the board at 3 different time frames. That's why I love using 3 different time frames. So what would I do here? All right, so if I'm thinking about going long, this is bearish, okay? This is bearish over here. So let's wait until this turns bullish, which will hopefully be at a lower price. Maybe we can get in at 34, maybe a little lower, and then go long. So if you're long already, you stay the course, keep your stop here, and realize you're in a little bit of a pullback. If you are not long yet, you wait for the correction and wait for that lower time frame to turn bullish again, okay? So that's how you'd work that. All right, and that's GLW. So that's setting up, I think, possibly to be a good long position, maybe in a week or 2. So let's take a look and come back to that one, Dan, the next week you're here. All right, let's keep going. All right, Al, I think you're the next one here, JNPR. Let's see how that one looks here. And you are long, okay. So hopefully you got long after the little dip down, okay? And here we are back to the upside. I'd put your stop as low as you can right here, okay? Keep it there until you get a significant pullback, all right? And then you can start moving your stop up a little bit. So you got green here, green here, green here, little red, so you're going against this, but notice this pyramid's flat part or base leg has been taken out, so you no longer have any type of active short trade on the longer time frames at this point. So there you have it. What's the target going to be on this? Good question. Let's just see here what we've got cooking on the long-term chart. So let's open that up. And boy, that's kind of messy, Al. Look at that. So I don't know. What's your target on this? Because first we got to make sure that we've had the target reached on this fib retracement. It looks like we have. Notice I draw it on the second higher low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe we'll get ready to go on up here. But also too, if this goes into a little bit more of a correction, okay, there's maybe an A, B, C here. So that possibly could be over. So, all right, long trade here, cut your trade size in half. You still got a pretty decently bearish red owl on the weekly chart, but the lower time frames are bullish. So you could go along with that. So just put your stop under here, okay? And again, if you're stopped out, it's because the correction's not over and you shouldn't be long, that type of thing. So there you have that one. All right, that's JNPR. PINS, let's take a look at that one. For this week, I haven't come across any that knocks my socks off right now. I don't know about you guys. If you see one or see something I missed, let me know. All right, this one, all right, again, close. This is one we recommended before. And so we tried to get in early here. Stop is at the bottom. Same type of thing. Got a red owl here. So we're still pulling back. See that 60-minute? You got some red pyramids here. So you're pulling back a little bit. So what we want to do is let's let this pullback finish. So if you're not in this one yet, wait until this finishes and then wait for this to turn green, okay? This is green, this is green, this is green. So I kind of think this is just a minor pullback. I don't think we're going to take that bottom out, but I'm telling you to wait a little while because I think you can get a better price, okay, to get in. So that's the kind of deal with that. If you're in it already, keep that stop at the bottom, all right, and keep it there. All right, so that's PINS, Oracle, ORCL. For John here, let's check that one out. All right, and you own it, and you want to know if you should sell it. Okay, so let's see what we've got cooking here. Well, you got a nice move off the bottom here, fairly clear. You reach the target zone on the weekly. You had a 3, possibly an A, B, C correction. I think we got a bottom in here. And you did hit the target here. And there's your A, B, C. So I would say if you're long, you want to stay long at this point. We should get another high on this one, okay? And I think, somewhere above the 110 to 120 mark it could top out at. All right. So you own it. I wouldn't sell it. You might get a little pullback here at some point. So just, again, stop at the bottom here and let it unwind. Okay. You should be okay. Again, if that's a bottom, then that's a bottom. So I would put this on the recommended list if we didn't have a red owl appearing now on the 60-minute chart. Okay, not too bad. All right, TITN. Let's take a look at that bad boy. Try to get that one in correctly. TITN. All right, John, again, he wants to know whether he should hold this, and the answer is yes. See how having the software tools makes a huge difference? Green, green. 75% probability we're going above the high that created that green, and that's this right here. All right, are we going to get a pullback? Sure. You got bearish divergence, probably, we've gotten straight up. Don't use the pyramid, closest pyramid, because you haven't had the big pullback yet. These pyramids will definitely make you profitable on this swing up, but if you want to make it to a higher target zone, you got to keep that stop. I would put that stop at the first pyramid and let it unwind, okay? So that's kind of where we're at there. So I would keep that, all right? Don't sell that one either. But when you have the right tools, you can analyze these in about 20 seconds. It's that quick. All right, let's see what, okay, let's see, MDC. Let's do that one yet, and this one is for John. Al, what are you complaining about? Something about fibs? Let me know what you need, okay? All right, so on MDC, right here, okay, we got this and we got this. So we got two red PTFs, and therefore I would not go long, okay? So you own it, so there's a chance that this move down is not over yet, okay? So I don't know if these are long-term positions for you or not, but if this is a short-term trade, you shouldn't be long here. Okay, long-term, not liking it either. I mean, it looks to me like on this one here that we're going to go back into the teens on this. So I based on the way I would do it, you can check with your financial advisor if this is a long-term hold for you, but I would not be in this at all, long-term or short. But that's just me. Okay. All right. So that's MDC. All right. Credit Suisse. Aggie, how are you? Okay. CS, Credit Suisse, long. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So we got a red PTF short term. Okay. You may have gone long earlier because this may have been green when you got in here. Messy chart over here. But now it's saying we're going to have more lows. And the low it's saying it'll be right around 520, but that's not the bottom. The bottom's down even lower than that. It's down here under 5, I think, or right at 5. So if you're long this, have your stop at the very bottom, okay? And if you're thinking about going long, don't. Okay, wait until the 60-minute chart is more bullish. All right? All right, key, NVIDIA, NVDA, fibs on NVIDIA. Okay, you're long on this one. All right, let me type that in again. All right, let's see what we got cooking on old NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA here, okay, is one that we liked for a longer term trade called Wave 5, all right? So basically what we thought here on this one, key, is that we had a 3, a 4, okay? And here's your target. There's your fibs. I think that's what you're asking for. So it's 336 all the way up to 457. That's a Wave 5 target zone, okay? And again, stop here. All right, now, this is okay. This is a little red. So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback here. So on this one here, this is one we recommended before. So if you're in it, stay in it. Keep that stop at the bottom. It looks like we may be getting a final, at least a retracement here. We need one, all right, to test that low. And if it turns around and goes back up and goes above this high, you move that stop right there and you're off to the races. You should be okay. All right, now, if you're thinking about going long, just wait for that the owl to turn green again, and you know, have no longer active pyramids, okay? So just give that a little time to pull back. But overall, target is up there. So hopefully I answered that question for you. All right, CALM, COM, thinking of going long. All right, Key, this is, all right, good one to have gone long before. My only concern here now is we're so close to the target, Key, okay? So this could have been a possibility. Now it's starting to get a little away from us. So yes, it's bullish. Yes, it's doing great, but here's the target, 59 to 69. All right, so, you know, the PTF is sitting right here, or right almost at the PTF too. So if you put, even if you put your stop down here, you know, your 2 to 1 puts it even above the target. So no go. All right. So you have to pass on that. You just missed it. Now, if it pulls back down, keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll get a little volatility. You know, sometimes you get this, you know, who knows. Okay. But at this particular point, don't go in it. Just give it, wait it out and pass. All right. So there you have it. And let's see, Aggie, you're very welcome. ASPN, let's take a look at that. ASPN. Aspen Aerogels. I like it when you type in the name of the company, because I don't know all the companies out there. You know, there's only like 10,000 stocks, if not more. All right, so let's see. All right, not quite ready for a long position. Again, the PTF is still red. Got it red over here. So I can't go against that. All right, I'm just not going to do it. We may get a retracement off this, but I'd rather find one with no red PTF, because that's also saying that there's a high probability that maybe the bottom's not in. Okay, so no long trade on that. The setup is good. I love, you know, when things kind of get near a bottom or at a bottom, they start going sideways and go up, then you're getting in early, but you have a red PTF. So that's got to go away before I can take a long position on that. Okay, so thank you. All right, Dan saying, thanks, love the analysis of the MTFs. Oh, glad you like that. Yeah, I like it too. The MTF is our multiple time frame analysis. And I think, Dan, you may be using, I don't know, I think you're using TradeStation or NinjaTrader, not sure. This is how it looks up here on NinjaTrader. It gives you the short, intermediate, and long-term look. Same type of thing we do here, okay? With between the charts, and it just allows us to scan and look for setups based on criteria we can set it up for. So kind of cool. All right, Adam, let's say COP, great. And that is ConocoPhillips. And thank you, Adam, for also spelling that out, the name of the company. That's great. And of course, you type it in correctly. That always helps. All right, COP. So let's see what you're doing on this. All right, so it's kind of, well, it's bullish. There's no question about it at this point. My only concern, all right, here's my only concern with this, is that we've got a straight dive down here. We've got this red. I don't see an ABC clear correction on this, and I'm struggling to see it on the daily, maybe a little bit right there. So these are always kind of difficult. Let's open up the weekly chart and just take a look. A little messy, isn't it? But it did break out of its channel, and the channel basically, you know, over the last, what, 7, 8 years has been, you know, this. So it's broken out there. So that's kind of a positive sign. We do have a red PTF. So I mean, a red out. Let's just draw in fib extensions and see if it's retraced enough. And it has. Okay, good. All right, so that's a good sign. let's see a little bit about where I think this thing is going. So let's dump these and draw a fib extension. So possibly we got a target of 138 to 175, and we're at 105. Our stop, tough one on this, would have to be pretty far down. All right, so your risk to reward could be 2 to 1 if it gets to the upper tier of here, okay? So that's a possibility. It's in the target zone. And you've got green here, green here, green here. So yeah, probably not bad. My only thing is that, you know, I feel a little more comfortable when the risk to reward is in the beginning of the target zone versus way up here. That's my only reservation on this. So I'm liking it. And there you have it on that. Also, too, you know, what could happen on this, and you got to be careful, is you could have this. This could be a 3. This could be an A. This could be a B. And then that gives way to C for one more low, and then it goes. All right. So that's a possibility. But, you know, you never know that in advance. You really don't. Okay. You can say, okay, well, you know, on the daily chart here, I could kind of see an A, B, C. It hit the target zone. All right. We have a pyramid. We have green. So there's really no reason not to be long on this trade. Okay. It's not as clear as we like it, but it is a long trade. So we'll put that down. I'm going to put that down as a long trade. Risk to reward, a little bit concerning there, but we can put that down as one of the ones possible for today. What do you think? That's COP. So let's put that one down. All right. Okay. So let's keep moving on here. Oh, John, you're so nice. John says we need more likes. Never have enough likes, right? Likes are kind of like hugs. You need more. All right, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so Key is asking, how do you scan for a bracketed trade? You would use the turbo scanner for that. Okay, that's this baby right here. See where it's finding bracketed markets? So that's a different scanner, okay, for that. All right, good question. And if you, you know, don't forget we have the client support webinars for everybody that has, you know, whether you have a home study course from us or any software, you can come to that and we can show you how to do those scans for you at that time. All right, so let's keep going on here. All right, Key's asking, do you still like VUSI? Let's take a look. VU, not S, ZI. VUZI. I haven't had my 5 cups of coffee yet. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right. Well, the answer to that question is yes. All right, we're in the pullback. We're in a little pullback phase here. But again, keep your stop low. When, you know, we recommended it a while ago. This is our target. All right, this is red and this is red. So you can't go long now. So if you're not in this one, you can't go. Also, too, the problem is this one's moved up enough. It is pulling back. So you got, you know, the more it pulls back, the better the risk to reward looks. So you got to put your stop pretty low on this one. So let's wait and see how far this pulls back. And then if, for example, this pyramid holds, fine. But if this one is better, fine. Or if this bottom is fine here. Let's see how far it pulls back before it turns. All right, the more it pulls back, the better the risk to reward to the target. But you have to make sure at that point that if you're going to enter into this, we pick the right stop. So let's take a look at this, I would say next week, and see if that bullishness is still bearishness is still underway on the 60-minute chart because it's showing lower lows coming. All right. Again, if you're long, keep that stop at the bottom. We always, after a move up off the bottom, you always get a fairly significant pullback. All right. So just keep that stop at the bottom so you can survive that pullback. Then once that pullback is done and it goes above the previous high, you know, for example, like this, all right, then you're good to go. All right. Then you've survived the attack by the bears on trying to take the bottom out. Okay. So that's kind of how you want to look at that. All right. Let me see what we got cooking here. Did I miss anybody? If I missed you, please type it in now, okay, so I can take a look at that. I'm going to take a look while I'm waiting for that. Let's take a look at cryptos real quick, and we'll take a look at the ETF on Bitcoin. So here's Bitcoin, all right. Gap day didn't do well again today, all right. But you see, the PTF was red all along, so there was no long trade at all. So this is, again, why it's nice to look at all 3 time frames. And you kind of want to make sure you get a green light, at least on the lower time frames, before you initiate a position trade based off the daily chart, because the daily charts are chart in the middle. All right, so that's important. And if you're going against the long-term chart, but it is possibly a bottom we see there, just cut your trade size a little bit until the longer-term chart is more bullish. So no trade on this at all. Okay, if you're short, you're going to be short. Actually, would have gotten stopped out a little while ago, but for right now, you don't want to be long on this at all. Down to 13 bucks. All right, it's retraced almost the entire movement up. So maybe this will be good one day, but it is not good today. So do not go near that one. All right. All right, John wants to take a look at CFLD. Let's take a look at that bad boy. Okay, give that a second. It's loading. Loading. Did I type that in correctly? CFLD? I don't know. I didn't seem to do it. I don't think that symbol's right. Okay, check that, John, and just let me know. Either that or something's screwed up with the data. Okay. Let's take a look at silver while he's checking on that. All right, so silver. Here's silver. Here's another one that has been recommended by many of those on YouTube. And again, the tools here are saying no go. All right, do not go long on this. All right, price. What is so great about looking at charts is that the charts are the truth of the market. Price is the footprints of the market, and it is the truth of the history and of what's going on currently. And currently we are in a move to the downside. You can see it on the 60, and also to our PTF on the daily is indicating more lows. So no long trade here. So when somebody recommends something, go to the charts, look at it, and if it's okay on the charts, fine. If not, you wait. Okay, so that's how you do it. Even if it's your broker, always check the charts just to be sure they're in sync with the recommendation. All right, let's see what else we got here. Alexander, a happy Friday to you as well. Okay, no worries, John. So it's CLFD. If I had a nickel for every symbol I had incorrect, I'd be rich by now. All right, there you go. All right, so CFLD, much better. Okay, much better. All right, so let's see what's going on with that. So we're still moving up. All right, so John, let me just see. Are you in this now? It's a little too late to get in it. So you gotta think about that, because you've had the big move up already. All right, so look, big move up. So the pyramid stop is way here because it's anticipating a correction and then another move up. Okay, so that's kind of where it's at now. Now, if a correction comes like this and goes up, you may see a pyramid maybe forming up near the top. But for right now, it's pretty far down there. And the green PTF you have on the weekly daily chart now is only saying a little bit higher here. So bullish for sure. Here's what I would do. I'd take your fibs, draw them in from here to here. All right, when this turns red, then you should be moving down. So make sure your fibs are drawn properly at that point. And then this would be your target for a pullback. So you may have a short trade you could take here, or maybe wait for it to get here and go long. Now, you're not going to take a short trade now. The owl is too green, right? And it's really premature to draw your fibs in now because technically this could go a little higher before this starts to settle down. So you've got to wait until you get a red owl before you can consider a short trade or draw the fibs in. Okay, so that kind of thing. All right, so we'll see. So if we go to cryptos and go to the ETHE, which is the Ethereum Trust, okay. Keith says he thinks this one will do well. And again, you know, most of the cryptos are still coming down. I mean, look at the tools. You've got red PTFs across the board. Doesn't mean you might not get a move up, which is kind of what we're seeing a little bit on the daily chart. But that's all it is. All right, is according to the tools, what we're seeing is a bounce and not a change in trend. Okay, so eventually when these things bottom, you know, they may be worth something to go long, but right now, no. You know, and crypto is kind of an interesting thing. You know, the digital currency, I definitely think there'll be a place for digital currency in the future. The problem is we're kind of like in the infancy of it. If you remember back in the year 2000 with the dot-coms, you know, you had tons and tons of dot-coms. And, you know, then the correction came and a lot of them got washed out, but a few survived. You know, you have Google and Amazon, but, you know, Google and Amazon, they got killed during the correction, but they survived. And so I think you'll probably get some digital currencies that survive, but we're in the washout area right now. All right. So, you know, for position trading, hey, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, what's going to happen in the future. What we really care about more is what's going to happen in the next, you know, few months. But for right now, because we're momentum traders, basically, momentum's still down. All right. So we haven't bottomed on these babies yet. Okay. So there you have that. But thank you, Keith, for that, for looking at that one, because eventually one day this could be a good long position, but I would just be I wouldn't take it yet. All right, CSTM, take a look at this one for Aggie. Constellium, I am not familiar with this one. All right, so this one here, again, red PTF on the daily chart, so you don't want to take any long positions with that. Kind of messy. But actually the weekly chart is a little clearer. Let's see if we can get something out of this. Not that much history, but notice here it's retraced just about to the inflection point here. So maybe it's going to head down, make another bottom here before it stabilizes. So not my favorite, but all the time frames are fairly bearish. So I guess that's where I'm at here. But I don't even think I'd take a short trade. You know, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. All right, MRK. Work. All right, so Alexander's saying MRK long call options. He wants to know if he should roll them out. All right, well, that always depends on your target. I don't know if this price bar is correct or a erroneous price bar, that big dip down. Sometimes you get incorrect price bars, so that's kind of odd. All right, so all right, it's bullish both on the pyramid and on the owl on the weekly. You've got kind of a sideways market. You do have a bullish owl here. You no longer have a red pyramid here, but it's kind of range bound and it's bullish on at least the 60 minutes. So I'd rather be long than short for sure. The question is, where is this going? All right, where's the target? So if you're thinking about rolling out an option, you know, usually when I roll out an option, what I want to do is make sure I have enough reason to roll it out, because the target zone needs to be significant enough to do that. All right, so I'm not sure where the target zone really is on this. I think you can find better. Okay, not saying it's not going to make another high, but I'm not so sure how much higher it's going. Okay, So I probably would not roll that option out. Okay. Thank you for sharing that though. 100 target, possibly. Yeah. And you know, the PTF is almost green here. Possibly, it could possibly be. We did have a green roll over here. So you got the momentum with you. But we'll see. Okay, that would have to break a brand new high to do that. And it could. It certainly could. You still got a decent owl on the weekly. But it's not something I'm 100% comfortable with. That's all. Okay. I think, let me answer this way. Since you're kind of in a position here already, if we kind of dip below here, that's not a good sign. And of course, if we go below here, that means we're probably going into something significant. So maybe, you know, make that your reason to get out if it goes below here. Does that make sense? Kind of. Hopefully it does. Okay. All right. Well, anybody else? What I usually do when we get kind of at the end is that we'll review. Okay. There wasn't a whole lot today, was there? You know, COP was okay. Not a super great one, but it's okay. All right. Because you're going with the tools. We had a pullback significantly. So maybe target range of around 138 to 175 possible. Okay. Aggie says, let's take a look at US Steel X. And this is kind of interesting, Aggie. So this is one we looked at before as a possible retracement trade at the very least. But it's still green down here, so it's not done moving back up. So I think we'll move back into that target. So I would stay long on this one, okay? Stay long on this one. Now, you know, if you put your stop here in the pyramid, you're going to make money on this leg up, but you could get stopped out and not get into the target. You hit the target already, and you had a 1B reversal, so you could have exited right there. But you might not have wanted to because this is green here. You see, this is when you start connecting the dots of the software tools, it kind of gives you clues as to what to do at certain points. So you reach the target, you had a 1B, but you had this turning green. So that's saying more highs are coming. So based on that, you may not want to scale out, right? Or you reach the target zone, you scale out a third instead of a half because this is green, and you keep your stop low so it can unwind and head back into the target zone. So it's basically how you use the software tools. And the great thing is that you can almost formulate your own game plan using them. So that's a good thing. So more highs coming. You've had a couple you had a place to scale out possibly. But if you didn't, just keep your stop low enough, okay, that you don't get stopped down on this pullback that's underway. All right. And Alexander wants to take a look at NVR. Oh, Samuel, I missed yours. I'll come back to yours in a minute. All right. Let's take a look at that. All right. So NVR here is green PTF. No longer active. Oh, look at this. Red. Can't go long. If this baby wasn't red, this would have been a good one. So what this is saying is that the low here that triggered it was just under 115. So we're going lower than this. So this bottom could be a bottom. Okay. This PTF is not saying we're going that far down. It's just saying we're going down below here. So if that's right, maybe we trickle here and then it turns around, or it could keep going. So in any case, you want to wait for that 60-minute PTF to not be red anymore, okay? If you're short, and you are, okay, trade the 60-minute chart, okay? As soon as that PTF goes yellow down here, exit the position. That's almost called what we call a PTF scalp trade. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right, let's see what we got here. What is it? SPXU you want to look at? All right, let's see if I can get that one up there for you. All right, so what you got cooking on this one, Samuel? What you got cooking? All right, so you're short on this one. All right, so daily time frame, I can see the short position. We're getting a reversal coming into scenarios here. We got a lot of bullish divergence here building. Okay, so we may be heading up for a little bit. This is still green, which is kind of interesting. So more highs are coming. But at this particular point, the question for you is this a bottom? Are we going to see this thing start to go like that? So the stop on this is here on this, but you had it, check this out. You had a 2B and a fear bar. So this means that the market has gotten fearful down here. And when you have a fear and a 2B, which is an art reversal at the same point, scale out. So you're at a scale out point now if you want it. Okay, you may get more lows, but I think we're probably going up to 18 or so before the market will be at a point of inflection where either it will head back down or back up. Okay, so you kind of got to be a little bit careful here. If it hits below here, we're getting closer, we're heading back down to a new bottom. So you got to be a little careful here, okay? Okay, I kind of, if you're thinking about going in, wait for that owl to turn on the, excuse me, on the daily chart to green. You just want to make sure that bottom's in. And if that's a bottom and it turns green, you're going to get in plenty of time to make money on this because you'll have a huge retracement. But for right now, all right, just wait a little longer, okay? Because if it heads back down and goes a little lower than we think, then you're not going to be happy with a long position, okay? And I wouldn't go short here either. Okay, so there you are. Okay, cool. Anybody else? If I missed anybody or you need a little more elaboration or clarity, let me know on some things. Are we good? You guys are great. Do a good job at this. Okay, good. All right, so let's see what the NQ is doing right now. Let's go over to the futures market and take a look at our day trading platform and see what's cooking over there. And notice here we got a 1 minute time frame here. We got a 15-second here and a 5 minute here. So these are usually the time frames that we day trade with in our day trading room. Okay, so you've got a green here, red here, red here. So I'm thinking maybe a corrective trade because you have red here over here. So probably at this point, if we draw in some fib retracements, maybe going up to that level there. Okay, in between here is looking pretty good. Can't go long until this is green and this is green. So either we're going to be able to get in to a long corrective trade up to here with a good risk to reward, or if we can't, then you got to wait for it to get here, okay, to the wave 4 and then take it to the short side. So we have to stay alert on some possibilities. All right, Sam's got one more position trade. So let's go back to the position trade tabs here, where we have the longer time frames, and he'd like to look at UPRO, and this will be the last one we do, okay? UPRO for the position trades. And let's see what we have here. Okay, so we're moving on up off its bottom. So you definitely got a long trade on the daily chart, but a red PTF over here. So I have to look at this as a corrective trade only. So we're pretty much here, okay, almost at the point of inflection. So the most the PTF is saying here is you're going to get above this high here. So if we open that way up like this, what we're really saying is that this high should be taken out. And unfortunately, at this particular point, the risk to reward, you're not going to have any risk to reward, but you are getting a pullback. So if you get a significant pullback, you might be able to do it. But this is not one where I think you're going to go above 80 because this is red over here. I'll tell you where I think the target is on this one. Right there. So we hit it once. Green PTF will probably go back in it after this correction, and then a sell-off based on this. So if we retrace enough here, watch this. If you retrace enough here, and you can put your stop here and have a 2-to-1 into here, you might want to take it to the long side or just wait for it to reach and top out in the target zone and then go short, okay? Oh, Samuel has another one. Okay, OBE. See what we got there. Well, keep them coming, okay? Because if they stop coming, then I'll go over to the day trading area. All right, so OBE. Okay, so this one I like a little better because you don't have the PTFs going against us. So this is better. All right, we've got a little bit of a red owl over here. So I'd wait for this to turn green. And again, you know, we've had a nice move off the bottom. Pyramids do a great job on this move off the bottom. But if you're trying to get way up here, which is what the PTF is saying, then you want to put that stop low, okay? Because eventually you'll get a pullback. So what's happening, what's interesting and what's happening, let me refresh this. What's happening on the 60-minute time frame here, okay? Oh, okay, so you have green here. So you have green here. So you could go long here, okay? Just put your stop down here, all right? But the question is, here's your problem. Your risk to reward is 1-to-1. So you're going to have to wait for a pullback to get that risk to reward better. So the better entry would have been over here as soon as the PTF went from red to green off this pyramid. Okay? So that's the only thing with that. Cool. So you don't, the trade is correct to the long side, the risk to reward's not there. All right, anybody else? If not, I'll go over to the day trading timeframes. You guys let me know. All right, let's put a couple of those on then. All right, so here's our NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the E-mini. All right, so the E-mini's got a red PTF, a green PTF. All right, so here is the 1-minute time frame, 15-second, and the 5-minute. So you've got a downtrend, the dominant downtrend, it's down, and you've got red here. Now you've got green here. So what this is saying is that we're still moving up because this is bullish. We should go above 4239 up here, okay? But this is saying, okay, hold on a second. This is not a new trend. This is a correction. And after this, we should head back down. That's what that's saying. So let's see where the possibility of this thing is going. So there's the target. We hit it once, and it looks like we're going to hit it again because this is green. So let's wait and see. This may turn yellow, okay, because this just once again exceeded the mark there. So it'll be interesting to see. So we would not go short. We would not go long. We're too close to the target. We would wait on this one until the setup is there for the next trade. And I'm kind of thinking the next trade may need to be a short trade after we reach this. So if you're day trading, what you'd have to do is wait. You'd have to wait until this reaches here. But you don't have to wait that long. It's only a minute chart. All right, so then we'll see what happens with that. All right, let's take a look at the Russell. Okay, this is kind of going to the downside. All right, so this trade is looking pretty good for a short trade. And I think you might have the risk to reward in your favor on this one. So I would wait until this turns red and then immediately go short. Put the stop here, okay? Now, this green owl may save your butt because if it goes higher, then you're not short already. So that's why we wait for these things to roll over before we actually take the trade. All right, so this would be a really quick scalp, so to speak. But as you can see, it's a fairly bearish move that's not quite over yet. So this one probably could trigger before the NASDAQ or the E-mini trade. And, you know, some people like day trading, some don't. But it's kind of fun to kind of look at the software and see how it maneuvers during these very short time frames. We have an absolute blast in the day trading room. And we also test new ideas and experiments and how to handle trades that are profitable in terms of scaling out and things like that, because there is a lot to think about. If you scale out, then your payoff ratio, which is basically your average wins to your average losses, are going to be greatly affected. So there's different ways to handle the process. And therefore, you have to have more of a win ratio percentage if you have your payoff ratio lower. You have to win more, okay? Key, that's kind of what we talked about, you know, during your session the other day. Fun stuff, though. Great stuff. All right, so you see, you still wouldn't be short on this because you've got actually increasing momentum on the bullish side on the 60-minute chart. So you see, this is why the 3 time frames are so great, because it really dissects the trade and really makes it fairly clear when you're supposed to enter or stay out. Let's roll back up to the NASDAQ and see how that's going. All right, so now look what happened. We've got yellow here that formed over here, right? But we have a PTF still going up and bullish. So we're not going to take a short trade. Instead, we're going to hang tight. This thing needs to go back, I think, into the target zone. And we really don't have risk to reward to go long, because if this is our target here and here, and we put our stop here, you can see it's about almost 1-to-1. So I'm thinking more of a short trade after this thing tops out. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at the ES, probably fairly similar. Yep, almost identical. Look at that. Now, if this changes abruptly to green, then that changes things quite a bit, okay? But that would just keep me out of a short trade until that thing turns back to yellow or red. Let's see what gold is doing. All right, gold is in a corrective trade. Let me remove some of these. So gold's moving up, but the PTF is red, so this is a correction only. So you wouldn't be trading it on a 1 minute. Let's see about the YM. Same thing. All right, so it looks like to me these are setting up better for a short trade at some point after this bullishness unwinds. Now, if we were here earlier and we could have gotten in earlier on this move to the upside, hey, great. But at this particular point with the red PTF, we would be just waiting for the next short trade. Let's go back. I think it was the gold. Let's see here. Take a look at the QM. Okay, so this is crude oil. All right, nice trend. Okay, look at this. Boom, right in the morning, early morning. Beautiful trend up. So you would not have been stopped out until right here. So entry here, trail your stops, 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 stop, out. That would have been the trade for the day right there. All right, so let's take a look and see on this one. All right, so target zone hit. All right, so if we get some red owls, we can go for a short trade. Now, where do you put your stop? Well, you could put it here and really have a large trade size, okay? You can back it up here in case it goes back into the target one more time. So that's up to you, all right? So if this is now red, we don't have a green. There's no green here. The only green is here. This has got to go red first. So we can't even consider a short trade until that is red. And the pyramid here is just about taken out to the upside. So that would clear the way for a short trade if that gets taken out. That's the other thing. You cannot go short against the 8 bullish pyramid. All right. That's the other one of the other little rule bases. All right. So we'll see what happens. Now, a little riskier trade normal because we didn't go that high into the target zone. But we did hit the target zone. So there you have it. Some people, all right, as long as they have the risk to reward, and we'll draw on the new fibs in a minute. But, you know, here's your target just based on the PTF. We might even have a better target, or maybe not if we draw the fib extensions. So we're thinking around 1759 is the PTF target. So if you put it here, you got tons of risk to reward. You could go a little higher maybe, okay? You can make that stop at the 2 to 1 if you want to give it a little more room. Let's, for fun, let's get rid of this and draw in a fib extension. So if that's a top, then this is our target. Okay, basically that's it. All right, so around 1756 to 1751 on gold futures. Still can't go short yet because this is not red. Now, if you want a really large trade size, put your stop here, and if you get stopped out, you do it again. If you don't like being stopped out, move your stop up to one of those fib retracement areas in case it goes back into the target zone. That's totally up to the person trading. Sometimes I, like to get the position size large, get stopped out, and then re-enter when it backs back down. All right, red PTF now on the 60-minute. Another confirmation signal for a short trade. We're almost short here. We're just waiting for that owl to roll over. No longer an active P pyramid. We have risk to reward on this. We're going to put our stop here. Here's our entry. Got a little over 2 to 1 just to the beginning of the target. Target's a little lower than the PTF. 75% probability we're probably going to get here. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. All right, we've got the red here. You go short now. That's how you would do that. So you got the red, you're short. Stop is here. So this would be a trade you'd be actively short in right now. Will you get a pullback? Probably. But we'll make money on this trade if this is a top. We will get stopped out if we got in too early. But you know, this to me looks like a great trade. So I'd hold this one. But you see how having the right tools can make all the difference in the world in terms of selecting the trades and entering the trades using risk control. You know, before you enter this trade too, you got to calculate how many contracts you want to go short with. And we use the trade size calculator, and better yet, the risk to reward calculator, because that will also tell you the 2-to-1 ratio there. So everything is methodically, you know, plotted. Nothing is left to the wind, except for the fact that we ultimately don't know if this trade will turn out in our favor or not. You never know that in advance, but you go with the probabilities. That's, you know, basically your edge. So that's how you do it. All right, so I'll just leave this running. I want to thank everybody for being here. I'll put a little music on and try to keep this going for a little bit longer. I think we've been on for, I don't know, hour or so. So we were maybe a little longer, like an hour and a half, huh? So I don't like to make them too long because then people don't look at the recordings if these things are too long, but I'll keep it on for a little longer. All right, you guys have a good one. See you back here next week. Thanks, Adam. You too. Oh boy, we're close to our stop here. Let's see what happens. Might have to try this one again at some point. Things definitely turned back on us. Happens. So there's a green PTF now on the 15-second chart. So chances are, I think probably we are going a little higher short term back into that target zone. We'll see. All right, didn't get stopped out yet. Our stop's right above that gray line, but we got a green PTF still on the 15-second. So unless that changes, it's probably going to stop us out, but we'll see. Now you don't move your stop. You got to keep this stop in place. You got to get out if it tells you to get out, and that's okay. You just try again. You know, we don't always win on every trade. And this is a great example of adhering to your stops. Now, what's interesting about this is, technically we're still short this trade. Again, I have no idea how this is going to work out, but this is a 1 minute time frame. And do you see it's not all that fast, is it? So you think of a 1 minute time frame as being, oh my gosh, so incredibly fast, I'll never be able to keep up. But really, it's not that bad as long as you have an approach that is structured. That's the key, okay? We could have our stop here. We could be looking at the E-mini. We could be looking at the NASDAQ. As long as we have our stops in, we can look as many markets as we want. Let this thing unwind. If it stops us out, so be it. We'll take a look and see if we get another opportunity a little later on. You are not going to win every trade, but the trades you lose in, you want to make sure you get out when you're supposed to, and you've calculated the risk control properly, so you're only losing no more than 2% of your account size. That's the key. Keep the losing trade small, let those winners run. And again, who knows how this trade could turn out? It still could fall from here. One never knows. All right, guys. Well, we've been on for about an hour and 45 minutes, but so I think I'll go ahead and end it here. And thank you for being here. And you can follow this if you got quotes at home. You can follow this and see how this trade works out. And it could go either way at this point, but it sure gives you a good idea that even trading the small time frames, all right, is not that bad, okay, in terms of being able to keep up with it. All right, so we'll see you back here next week. Have a great one. Thanks for being here.